Welcome everyone to the Legion Gaming podcast slash Retro Collective podcast slash TBD. I'm your host, Don, or as I'm known in smaller circles, DonVanDam. I'm joined by my co-host, Deucy. Deucy, please say a few words.
Hello, everybody. I'm Deucy, or Matt, if you want to be formal about it.
His old name, his old government name of sorts.
Yes.
So we're two fellas who've known each other for about 30 years now, which is pretty insane. We met back in second grade or so, somewhere around there. And, well, crap, it's been such a long time coming for this podcast, and we're finally doing it. Personally, pretty excited, Deucy. I don't know about how you feel right now. I know there's a lot of uncertainty of sorts since we're kind of delving into the depths here.
Yeah, no, it should be fun, because this is a subject I know a lot about of.
Yeah, I think that's really it is. We both definitely have had a passion for gaming. It's never really subsided, which is kind of insane because we've done it since before we'd known each other. I think, I was like 4 years old when I got a Nintendo, which is kind of crazy to think about.
I was 5, I think.
Yeah, so 4 or 5, we were around that age, and it's pretty crazy. We're in our late 30s now, and it's not slowing down. We literally just went and bought games today, which is kind of ironic. Anyway, so the whole presence for this show is we're going to be doing a lot of different topics. We're going to be covering games. We're going to kind of doing a deep dive. Sometimes there's going to be lists. There's going to be other sort of short form ideas. Really, it's just we're kind of finding our way and just ultimately we love talking about games, and now we're committing it to a digital format, and hopefully you might enjoy it, or some more people might. I don't know. Hopefully some people will enjoy this more than us. But anyway, before we get to our game, I'd like to start with Deucy. What have you been playing lately?
Oh, what have I been playing?
We've been diving. I know you've been diving into a few things, but sort of like, what's your cream of the crop of the week?
Oh, right now, Dead Island 2.
Yeah, I've been enjoying that. Yeah.
Anytime I have an open minute, I will fire that up. It's on quick resume. I also got the Pixel remasters for Final Fantasy on Switch. So anytime I want to watch something and have something portable, I fire one of those up.
That's really the reason why I got it. And it was a long time coming. I know you've never been talking about that for a while because they'd released the remasters on Steam, and it seemed like it was never going to come to console. And they finally did. Now we have 6, 25-plus-year-old RPGs that were like, oh, we're dying to play, and we're like chipping our way slowly at some of the earlier ones.
I was
going to
say, I don't even know the amount of time it takes to get through the stories on all of those, but combined, I probably won't get through all of those.
I know most are minimally 20 hours. I want to say that Final Fantasy 1 through 3 on NES are a lot shorter, but I know the SNES ones are definitely 30 hours plus. But my coworker, and I'm kind of stubborn with putting the boost on, but what he did was he put the 4 XP boost on there, and then he put the no encounters. So what he would basically power level through most of the areas.
Wait, is that in the options?
Yeah, it's I think you have to hit R3 or something. It's an option on there.
I haven't even looked at that.
Yeah, it would help a lot because he basically got through Final Fantasy 1 in like 4 hours because it's 4 times XP, and you get I forgot if there's infinite money.
Well, Final Fantasy 1 definitely needs that.
It does.
That is a grind.
It's awful. He even we had to like look up how to beat the last boss because he said like even with grinding it was a nightmare. And then whatever exploit worked, it was like power leveling some warrior ability. It killed the boss in like 2 hits, 2 turns.
There was probably some sort of obscure way of doing it because I remember Final Fantasy was one of those Nintendo Power strategy guides.
Yeah.
So they wanted you to get that.
Exactly, and that's something I definitely notice now is like all these games are designed with the intent to, get you to subscribe to Nintendo Power, get a guide, get Game Pro, whatever.
Yeah, it's really hard to play some of the old Nintendo games on Switch Online because they don't have an instruction book and they're just obscure, and then they throw you into it and expect you to have read all that beforehand.
And some games are, they're a lot more intuitive than others, which is actually the one we'll talk about today. But yeah, I've been on playing 4, but I'm only like 4 or 5 hours in, and I find myself getting stuck because, like I said, I'm pretty stubborn not to use the boost, even though I probably should just to get through it.
I was thinking that was just how you played. You had to play authentically.
You really did. Well, that's kind of the intent, but it's also like I rotate through so many games lately, and like you're playing a few too. Mm-hmm. But we did do Dead Island Co-op, which is really fun. Although we haven't played in like a week, I think we're kind of in a similar spot finally. Like I think we're close where I am.
Now I'm catching up to you because you were ahead of me there.
I was. Yeah, I just finished the. I think it was the movie lot, which is a really cool area.
Oh yeah, I just did that too.
And you get like you basically get what's Berserk from Doom. I think it's called like Pharaoh mode or something. So this game eventually just turns into Far Cry, which is fine. It's Far Cry zombies, but it's freaking fantastic. But yeah, it's been a good time. And then for me, I've been going through a lot. So I started Tears of the Kingdom yesterday, which was also just fucking incredible so far.
That's gonna take a while.
It's gonna be a while. I can already tell. Like it's this is the format how they start out. Like you do start in sort of an earlier zone or like a almost like a training zone because it teaches you, how to build everything, and like you have the Ultra Hand, which moves objects can attach them together, and you have like the fuse where your weapons are powered up. Like you could take your rusty sword and then attach a boulder to it, and it becomes like a giant freaking mallet.
I haven't been paying attention much to the trailers or anything about this. Is this like Zelda nuts and bolts?
It really is. It kind of is like yeah. For those who may not know, but Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was a 360 game where it was definitely not what we expected. It was not a platforming game like the N64, and this is really like this really cool freeform idea that probably shouldn't have been done at the time because it wasn't there. Yeah, arguably ahead of its time. But you could sort of build whatever you want with whatever's in the environment, and that's basically what Zelda does, except they do it to solve puzzles. So it's like one of the cool things I did early on is like you eventually get these little fans that you could power up, and you could attach the fans to a mine cart, and there's these tracks that go into like caves and whatnot or across different islands because you're kind of in a sky island right now or a sky map, and then you could hit the fan, which powers it up, and then it'll push you up the rails. Or you can attach the fans to, a plank. And I tried getting it to work, like try to make it levitate. Cause
a hoverboard?
Yeah, basically like a hoverboard, because there's a point in the game now where I've collected the first 3 powers, and you have to go all the way across the map to the Temple of Time, which, much like Breath of the Wild, this takes forever to get through because it's like a journey. So I spent more time trying to jerry-rig a stupid device to try to float me over there to no avail because it's like I'm not powered up. I don't have enough battery power because these things are also limited on like they call it I think it's called zone eye power or something like that. It's basically just like a battery that recharges. So you can only go so many distance. So even if I got the flying plank to work, I probably would have fallen in the abyss and gotten respawned even further out.
Hoverboards don't work on water.
Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like. But yeah, that game's been really fantastic so far. And then I've been playing Dead Island 2, which I've been really enjoying a lot more than I thought I would. There's also Star Wars Jedi Survivor that I've dived into quite a bit, and I'm really, really liking that. And I say that as someone who, as you know, shits on basically all the new Star Wars movies, so I do not like them. The games are much more compelling to me than the movies are.
It's funny, I was a lot more excited for that one than the Zelda game, but I'm holding off on both of those because I know Dead Island 2 is going to take a while. It's an RPG type thing.
I really want to get through Dead Island because there's a lot. I like that it's the pace that things open up, right? Because you don't have your dropkick right away. It really tries to ease you into the abilities, which sometimes kind of sucks because if you're already familiar with the game, like it kind of sucks to get to what you already know is going to happen, except it's like at level 10 instead of level 3. But they've done a pretty good job, I think, so far of just giving you the abilities as they come along. And then the last game I was most recently playing was Diablo 4. I was getting into the beta.
Oh, yeah.
And I played the hell out of that yesterday. I was telling you earlier, I'm trying to get my my puppy backpack, which you get if you hit level 20, and I hit level 19 this morning, so I'm almost there.
That'll carry over when the game comes out?
That's the whole point, yeah. It's like you get the puppy backpack for when the game comes out in a few weeks. All right, so the first game we're going to talk about, this is sort of our prequel episode is what we'll call it, or like a demo, prototype. We're still kind of figuring how things are going to work. But the first game we wanted to cover today was a really special one to both of us. It's Mega Man X on Super Nintendo. Deucy, what sort of initial memories would you have of Mega Man X?
The first one would be that I thought it was Mega Man 10 when it came out, because everything else had been Roman numerals. I didn't know what to expect, I don't think. I just knew that it was Mega Man on Super Nintendo. I don't think I even knew going into it that there would be like armor upgrades and all of that sort of thing. I just knew it was basic 8 bosses and weapons are rock, paper, scissors system. Yeah,
it was really weird because the most recent Mega Man game I had played before this was 4. Which I think had come out a year or two before this, but a friend of ours had it. We knew Vito back then, but he was the one who had it. It was weird. Like I had 3, you had 2, he had 4.
Yeah,
however that worked. But that was the most recent one I had played. And I remember seeing this. It was at Blockbuster when it just opened up for us because we had the warehouse, and I assumed the same thing. I was like, "What happened between 4?" Like, why are we on 10? What is this? And then I remember renting it, and yeah, it was kind of a different experience than what we're used to here. But yeah, it's a much different game than I would have expected to kind of get into.
Oh, I do remember, there's the intro stage and you go all the way to the end and you face Vile. And I remember being young and going, what the heck? I can't beat this guy. He's killing me every time.
Yeah. and that was the other thing too, is that there was a lot of differences with this game. So this game originally came out in 94. It came out in Japan December 93. There was also a PC version I found out that came out in 95, which I vaguely remember seeing ads for like in GamePro or something back then, because there was a lot of Capcom ads back then.
I think I even saw it at Costco once when they had games.
That's totally possible, yeah. That would make sense if it was there, yeah. Costco's has like one PC game, it's Mega Man X. Yeah. So this was kind of it was a couple years after the SNES had come out. I think it was still kind of trying to find its way because, we had Super Mario World at that time. I think Final Fantasy 2 had come out, but not 3 quite yet. But 94 was a ridiculous year for Super Nintendo because beyond Mega Man X, there was a lot of other releases that were big. Like most notably was Super Metroid and Donkey Kong Country, 2 other big monoliths for Super Nintendo.
Wow, it's odd because I don't equate those all together. I know I played Super Metroid first before Mega Man X or Donkey Kong Country. I think I got Donkey Kong for Christmas that year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't equate those all together in the same year.
It's really weird to look at that because back then, like, it was different. We learned through the magazines or like us out in the schoolyard. Like, that's what it was. Like, oh, did you see this? Did you see that? But it's really weird, like, now to kind of retroactively look at it and say, like, oh, yeah, like, 94 had 3 huge games at least on Super Nintendo. There's probably more. Like, I think I got a few. There was, there was Aero the Acrobat, which not necessarily an amazing game, but it was a really great Sunsoft series at the time. Like, it was just a generic mascot platformer.
They were really trying to make him a new mascot.
They really did. Like, he was everywhere too. I remember seeing that in magazines. I have 2, which is actually a really cool game. Aladdin for Super Nintendo came out. That's another amazing Capcom Super Nintendo game.
Wow.
Right? Because Aladdin came out that year, I think, as well. I think it was it 91?
92.
92, sorry. So
or 93.
See, so it could have been any one of those.
Yeah,
so,
one of those.
Yeah, this is weird. It's like it was after the movie released.
Man, I thought the Aladdin games all came out around the same time as the movie.
That's what I would have assumed. Yeah, but my thing is also I don't remember when I had played, because I remember I played the Genesis Aladdin first, because that was at the warehouse at the time, because we didn't have Blockbuster just yet. Blockbuster came in 94, which is Mega Man X was actually one of the first games I rented from there.
Nice.
But beyond that, there was a personal favorite of mine, Eternal Champions on Genesis. It's a fighting game that I think is overlooked, probably for good reasons. The character designs are really awesome. It's kind of clunky in some ways, and the AI is just stupid cheap, but it's a really awesome fighting game. Jurassic Park on Super Nintendo, I know it was a big thing for you, right? Like, you had a lot of fun for that one.
I loved that game, but I also did not equate that with I know I got that later.
Yeah, that would make sense. It came out in 94 because the movie was out in 93, so it makes sense within a year or so they came out with this series of games.
And I think I played the NES Jurassic Park first.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know you had played that one.
Yeah, I think we rented it or something, and then much later I got the Super Nintendo version.
Sorry, I'm always checking to make sure I'm recording. No mishaps. Okay, so a couple other games that were releasing that year were Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2 for NES, which that feels like a late release at 94.
Well, yeah, and when I saw that on your list, I immediately was like, that's why I don't remember ever seeing Chip and Dale 2 in the stores, because I was already focused on all these Super Nintendo.
I think that's exactly what happened, because there's a lot of those releases we talk about where like DuckTales 2, Chip and Dale's 2, there's probably a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of those released, you'd say late in the cycle of NES, but it was also a time where, by that time, like as kids, we moved on to the SNES, the Genesis, whatever else was out at the time.
Yeah. And
then one notable one for Game Gear, not huge, was Sonic Chaos, which I've played before. It was a fun Sonic game. It's Sonic on the game. It's nothing really exemplary on there. All right, so with Mega Man X, as I was looking up sort of the development history on this, they really did want to kind of reinvent Mega Man, which makes sense because at that time, I think they had 6 Mega Man games on NES. I think they had run through 4 or 5 on
4, I think, on Game Boy.
4 on Game Boy, and I think maybe by the time it was 5 games on NES, because that's one thing I found out here, and I told you this too, where Mega Man 6 had come out after Mega Man X in the US, which is crazy. It was 2 months after the Mega Man X release. So after Super Nintendo big release, they released an NES game in the previous series. It came out in Japan, I think it was a month before Mega Man X, so late 93.
That's a death note.
Yeah, and then additionally, Europe never got Mega Man 6.
Because...
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Europe, but they also didn't get a lot of Final Fantasy games. I think they stopped at 2 or 3?
No, I thought they stopped at 1.
Was it 1? Because they got 7 out of nowhere.
Yeah, they went from 1 to 7, and they were like, what?
Maybe that was it, yeah. And they might have had Mystic Quest. But it's really weird. Like, that was kind of fascinating. It's like, even Mega Man, which is, I guess it was a bigger season of Final Fantasy at the time, wasn't even released in Europe until it was an eShop release or something on, like, the virtual console for, like, 3DS or something. But anyway, so they went for a more mature story with this one. And the story with this one is that there's now an archaeologist named Dr. Kane. He, this is very much in the future from Mega Man. So the whole idea is that Mega Man's series from NES kind of doesn't exist anymore. Dr. Light's gone. Mega Man himself is gone.
I think in the story they say Dr. Light builds X and then needs to have him stored for 30 years.
Oh, I know that specific. I didn't get that far in the story.
I think it's in the opening crawl. They say only 30 years, but they also don't say... Like, that's what Dr. Light wanted. They don't say if Dr. Kane found him exactly 30 years later. Exactly.
It could have been like a whole century after. And it sounded like, from what I'd read, like it was in ruins. So I'd imagine it has to be like a century's worth of time
buried.
Passed. Yeah, it was buried. So Dr. Kane finds this time... I don't want to call it a time capsule. It's a capsule that has X. He discovers that X is this sort of, human intelligence robot. And he basically duplicates X. Now, with any scientist and AI, as we know with movies and all sci-fi things we've seen, things can go bad. So they've duplicated X a lot of times. They call them reploids because it's sort of like replicant and android. And then, of course, some go rogue because they have free will. And then what happens is there's this huge sort of uprising with Sigma, who's the main bad guy in this story, who, to cut it, the long and short of it is that he just wants to, bring on the extinction of humans.
Yeah, he was actually the leader of the Maverick Hunters.
Yes,
to stop these Mavericks,
which is who X is part of now to get rid of them.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh wait, I actually don't like humans."
Yeah. So then the two main characters in this in Mega Man X are X, who's the main robot you play as, and there's also Zero, who was originally the character that they wanted to have as the main character for Mega Man X, but it's kind of funny they weren't thinking about this back then, but they were fearing that fans would be uproared, or there would be a fan uproar of negativity if they replaced Mega Man with a brand new character.
Yeah, well, it would be confusing because Mega Man X is on the box and X is in the game, but you don't play as him. You don't even play as Mega Man.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on?
And even then, the initial working title was Super Rockman, so it's just gonna be called Super Mega Man, actually, which would have been even more weird if Zero was the new character.
And I can see that it wouldn't work as well because Zero is already very established, and it would just be Mega Man was like the super robot of the original series, and you didn't need any upgrades or anything. He was just going around killing everything. Same thing with Zero. So in that first part where you lose as X and you realize you have to get better and stronger, that makes sense. And
yeah, it's actually pretty cool that they turned Zero into sort of this veteran figure, this veteran military maverick hunter of sorts, where X has his buddy, but X is almost like a sidekick to Zero at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was thinking about it more, but that sort of dynamic plays into the story and like with the upgrades and whatnot, which we'll talk about. But it's actually pretty cool how much they did to really reinvent Mega Man, even though it's not really Mega Man. But anyway, like the story was what it was. Excuse me. And it was a little bit more mature than Mega Man, which I don't remember having much of a story. It was really just Dr. Wily was a bad guy. He's created 8 robots. You have to kill him, kind of thing.
Well, each game had its own story. I remember it was very standalone.
Yeah.
And X was now a series that it wasn't like Monster of the Week that you see on TV. It was like a long, drawn out, multiple parts sort of thing. But Mega Man had some kind of dark stories at one point. Like in Mega Man 4. The bad guy you think is the bad guy, like, he had his daughter kidnapped by Dr. Wily so that he would do all the evil bidding. It's like...
But that was like typical NES story back then. It's like, oh, who's kidnapped? Oh, let's go find him.
Yeah.
It was only more... I guess, to me, that was only as mature as it could have been at that time.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think, has a little bit of a they're intentionally making it darker, whereas the other one, it's like they kind of wrote a story and like it is kind of dark, like his daughter's kidnapped or whatever, and whatnot.
And this one, I mean, it doesn't even begin to get dark until later on in the X series.
Yeah, so when I read that they went for a darker tone, I was kind of surprised because I knew this, sort of the boundaries of the story. I didn't know that the inner workings. There's a lot of lore in there that I didn't really realize, and I was like, I guess it is kind of dark that some rogue robot wants to bring the extinction of the human race.
But don't they all?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Maybe they were inspired by other sci-fi movies at the time. But yeah, anyway, the story it's still sort of dressing on top of this entire game here.
You know what I've never kind of understood is X has this new ability. He's like a free thinking robot, and that's why Light wanted him buried so that they could do extensive testing, and he could potentially turn on humans, even though they incorporate Asimov's laws of robotics in this, like they do in everything. But it made me think, what's Mega Man's deal? Like, he was just a robot and Light ordered him to go fight?
This is going to sound ridiculous, but I think he was almost kind of like a RoboCop of sorts, where, like he the whole idea with RoboCop was, he was a former cop, dead, whatever, but he has this free will. He's sort of a cyborg of sorts. X was kind of that way, where it's like he does have free will, but he's also on the side of good because he's probably been programmed in some way to say, like, you're meant to get rid of the evildoers around you. You're meant to be the good guy and be the hero of the whole story, So it's probably his sort of robotic nature of sorts, which is weird to say, that he's supposed to be the good guy.
I'm just picturing that, like, since they both do the same thing, Mega Man, like, Dr. Light flipped a switch and said, "Go fight now."
And that's more or less what happens.
Now you're in peace mode.
Yeah.
Whereas X, it was like, "Hey, it's up to you. Do you want to fight this, or do you want to let Sigma take over?"
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of liked the story for what it was, but back then it was totally secondary, probably tertiary. It was just an afterthought to me. But anyway, so this game was very well received at the time. GamePro gave it 5 for graphics, 4.5 for sound, 4.5 for control, 5 for fun.
You said that was GamePro?
That was GamePro.
They always rated things highly.
I know, that was the thing. I felt like they were like the weird unbiased Nintendo power, but they just love games. Like, yeah, everything's good. But there was a few games, it's like it had to be really bad from the really crap on it. EGM loved it. I feel like they were a little bit more objective most of the time. They gave it 9s across the board. Nintendo Power, I was kind of surprised about this because they always skew, especially towards their games, right? Because Mega Man X wasn't on the Genesis back then. They gave it a 3.8, a 4, a 4, and a 3.8.
Out of 5?
Out of 5, which is, there wasn't, the good thing is that there wasn't anything in that issue that rated higher. I forgot what else was in there. I can't really recall. But I feel like that was a little low because even playing this now, like literally 2 days ago, that seems like a very low score for what is a pretty goddamn exceptional Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
So it was well received, which again that was totally out of my periphery at the time. But so for this podcast, one of the things we do is we not only talk about and reminisce and go through nostalgia and all the good times we had with these games, but we kind of replay them because some of these games we tend to replay often. I think Mega Man X is probably the one that, whether it's re-released or you just have this urge to play, it's so easy to pick up and play. So you play the Japanese version, like, so what was your impressions like? I guess before you played, or what your expectations were, and then what was it now?
For the Japanese version, or for Mega Man X?
For Mega Man X in general, yeah. Like compared to now, because we kind of talked about like how we thought of it back then, and now obviously we've played a lot over the years. This game's like 29 years old, which is insane.
And I still haven't beaten it. I guess.
I thought you had beaten it at least once before.
I thought so too. I thought I beat it on the new Switch collection, and apparently it told me I did not because I don't have the achievement for it.
Oh my god.
So that's one of the impressions I remember having as a kid, was that it was a lot harder than Mega Man, because I had 2 and I owned it, and I beat that. Like, I could beat that in a day in a single sitting, and even 3 I would borrow from you, and I could beat that occasionally. X, clearly more difficult, even though you just recently beat it all in one single sitting.
Yeah, that was a great time. I would do that right now over again. Like, I could probably do it quick because I spent a lot of time. I do this on every freaking playthrough for some reason, but I think I've collected all the heart tanks. So I go do the Hadouken thing, which we'll cover in a minute here. But I didn't have all the heart tanks, so I kept dying and like it wasn't appearing, and I realized, oh wait, I missed 2 of them.
Oh wow.
And I remember where they were, and I went back and get them. But the interesting thing I didn't know is that the moment I went back to Armor Armadillo stage to get the capsule, it was already there. So it took those multiple deaths I'd done like earlier,
Huh.
and it still triggered, which I didn't know was a thing until just now. Because
Yeah.
before that, I thought you had to have everything first, and then it would appear.
They always told you had to have everything.
Yeah. And that's what I had assumed, but I guess it wasn't the case.
Unless that's something new that they put into the collection.
No, I don't think so. I'd be shocked if that was the case. I'd be curious to try on the cartridge just to see for fun.
But I remember distinctly where I got stuck when I was little.
Oh, really?
It was just after you beat Vile in Sigma Stage 1, and you get Zero, he dies, and then gives you the arm cannon if you didn't get it before. And then there's this just gauntlet of enemies going horizontal and then vertical up to one of the first boss refights, and died every time because that was also where the Nintendo Power cut off.
Yes.
So it didn't tell you what to expect there, and I never knew until, oh man, I had to have been double digit in age. I didn't know that you could charge up the enemy weapons and that they would do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I never knew about like Sting Chameleon had the invincibility.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that makes it so much easier now.
Yeah. That's when you mentioned the Nintendo, because I did kind of go through that with in researching for this episode, and there was the whole spread there, which I vividly remember seeing in your house. And of course, the irony here is like we always joke about, but you were like on a summer. Well, you could tell you were on a summer vacation.
Yeah, I went somewhere.
I thought it was like was it your cross country trip back then? I thought you were like on a long tour vacation. I think it was from that. If I remember
might have been that. So that was like 1996, but we had we had a cat, and he did not like that we had left the house for that long, and just decided to crap on like 2 of my issues that I
didn't know it was 2 of them.
Yeah, that I had left out. One of them was left out still open to a page that I was using for a different game. So I could no longer look up Mega Man X information from there.
I remember when you told me that. I don't know if it was at school or whatever, but I was like, what? Because if I recall, I think it was the cover that it was Mega Man X on the cover, but you had like the special edition cover that was silver. It was meant to look like metallic or something.
Yeah, because it was like the January issue of Nintendo Power.
That's what it was. Yeah,
so
January
like,
'94.
Here's the new year. Here's a special edition cover.
Yeah. So yeah, that memory's like burned in my mind. Like every time I think of Mega Man X or Nintendo Power, like I always go back to when your cat crapped in the middle of it. R.I.P. Tricky. I love that cat and all of his loud meows. For me, I remember renting this. I played the hell of it with my brother Bob. His real name's Michael. We call him Bob for like the last 20 years. But he and I would play the hell out of this. And then our friend Alex at the time, which I'm pretty sure you remember Alex.
Oh yeah.
He was a little bit older than me. He was 4 years older, so he was the person that like really introduced me to a lot of games back then, because we were like 8 or 9 years old, whatever it was, and he was almost a teenager. So he'd borrow games from his friends to bring over because he didn't have consoles. So I learned a lot of games with him. He's really the reason I got into fighting games was because I played with him like all the time. But with Mega Man X, it helped because if I would get stuck, he was really good at,
He had the dexterity.
Yeah, he had the dexterity.
A teenager.
He had the better mindset of like what weapons to potentially use, what we could try.
Oh yeah.
Right. So that helped a lot. And then we'll kind of go through some of the bosses real quick here. But the format of the game, I just kind of go backwards really. It's set up like the old Mega Man games where there's 8 bosses. There's I think there's 4 we'll call them end dungeons. There's 4 levels at the end that are Sigma's levels, which are the parallels to Dr. Wily in the earlier Mega Man games. The difference with this game is that they have a opening stage, which I think is really cool looking at it now, because it's sort of like it's a prologue, but also gets you familiar with a lot of the game mechanics that the game mechanics in this game have changed pretty drastically over Mega Man, just beyond the fact that X has more mobility than Mega Man does. Like in that first level, it's already showing you that you can charge up your weapon, which wasn't available before, which you'd know if you played Mega Man. You don't have your dash anymore, but narratively, I realize that makes sense because X is a duplicate of Mega Man, so he kind of has a lot of his abilities, right? But as the game goes on, you start to get those upgrades that make X reach his potential on there. But anyway, in the first level, like, they teach you how to, like, kick jump walls and everything. And it shows you like all different kind of enemies that are coming through. Like, and that was the thing I think that struck me the most back then, was how much bigger this game was and how huge some of the sprites were, because there are some gorgeous sprites in this game.
I do remember the first time I could wall kick, and like I said, I had played Super Metroid first, which it had a wall jump.
That wall jump is a nightmare in that game compared to this.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I never did it. And when Mega Man came along and you could easily just, oh, this is how you do it. Click, 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 click. And I'm like, man, and now I wanted to go back to regular Mega Man, because that would save me a lot of trouble when I'm about to fall.
Yeah, that's true. Which is probably why they added it here, even though it's not that, you can't use it as utility that much to that extent. But there was a few times when I did play through this recent time where, like, I would miss time and jump, or I'd get hit in midair, right? And you have that signature, that knockback. And like, I would catch myself and just start mashing jump to try to catch the edge of the thing, because of course I would have like no lives left, But yeah, that first level I thought was really good at sort of teaching you about what's new in Mega Man X, and just kind of giving you like a primer that this is much different than Mega Man. Because once you beat the first level, like, you meet Vile, who's like sort of a Sigma's henchman of sorts. You lose that battle. You're intended to lose, which not easy to come across when you're younger, when you're 9 years old. Like, I tried to beat him,
yeah,
I'm sure, until I realized, like, oh, you're supposed to lose. Like, that's just what happens. You can't dodge anything he does. He captures you. And anyway, that sort of sets up the rest of the game, where you start to go through each boss and beat them individually, and then much like the older Mega Man games, you would collect their power. So just to quickly run through the bosses they had here. So initial 8, there's a Chill Penguin. The weapon you get from him is Shotgun Ice. It's just like this sort of it looks like a little star, like an ice bulb thing.
Ice pellet.
Ice pellet, yeah. that ricochets off walls and splits into 3, which is really cool.
That's another thing too, is like, I never paid attention to that when I was younger. I just thought it was, oh, my bullets are ice now.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there is that kickback. It's not just for art.
There's something elemental about it. Yeah. And exactly. And those shards, or wherever they are, the shrapnel, we'll call them shrapnel. That's the nice word to use. I like that word. The shrapnel that would come from hitting a wall, like, there's a velocity to it, and actually it would hit enemies and potentially kill them.
It would still hit the boss if you wanted to.
And then there was a Storm Eagle. He has a Storm Tornado, which is this really cool, like, wind tunnel that he shoots out straight that does a lot of damage and spins. There's Flame Mammoth, who looks like an elephant with a giant flame trunk.
Yeah.
Spark Mandrill. He has an electric spark, which reminds me of Sparkman from Mega Man 3, which is pretty obvious.
Now, at what year or what age did you find out what a mandrill was?
Oh, it was way later. Like, between Mandrill and then, Boomer Quanger. That's another boss that was in here.
Yeah.
I like a Quanger, I don't think it really has... well, it kind of has an English translation, but it's a stag beetle.
Yeah.
I didn't even connect that when I was looking at him, because he kind of looks like a beetle, or he kind of looks like an ant body with these horns. But
he looks like one of those stick bugs.
Yes, that's probably more phrase. More like a stick bug. So between Quanger and Mandrill, like Mandrill, I couldn't even tell you what he really looks like. He just looks like a big,
When I first saw him back then, he looked more like a lion.
Yeah, because he has that orange, does look like a mane.
It looks like a mane, and then you look at his face more, and it looks more like a baboon face.
It does, yeah. Which, again, like, you don't notice it back then. I was thinking it's definitely when you get older, you're like, oh, I can see what they're going for now.
I also should have known he comes into his level swinging on the ceiling.
Exactly, and that's another thing is there's a bunch of electric wires or whatever on the roof, and he's like monkey barring his way through, which I didn't connect. Like, I just thought he was making his way into the level, And then there's also Armored Armadillo. He's just literally an armadillo who's armored, which is kind of cool. Launch Octopus, and then we talked about Boomer Quanger, and there's also Sting Chameleon. And then beyond that, once you beat those 4 bosses, then you go on to the Sigma Fortress, which has 4 bosses, which the Bow Spider, which that was probably one of my most hated bosses when I was a kid. That boss was a nightmare.
One of the very few times I would ever get to it.
Yeah.
I then hated it.
Yeah, exactly, because before this, so before getting the levels and everything, I think the progression of difficulty in this game is pretty fair. But once you hit the Sigma levels, especially even the first one, it's pretty damn difficult, because if you don't know what you can do to kind of cheap it out, I don't want to say cheap it out, but to make it make sense, like there's an area very early in the level where there's a lot of these floating platforms that go back and forth and are timed differently. And then on top of it, you have enemies shooting at you. And it's like, if you get hit by anything, if you miss the platform, if you get hit by anything, that's it. Like, you're going to the pit. It's over. Granted, it's early in the level, so it's not too big a deal. It's still a huge pain. Unless you have the armor upgrade, which you wouldn't have at this point unless you got it before, or not the armor upgrade, the arm upgrade.
Oh yeah.
Because then you could charge up Armor Armadillo's weapon, and you get that invincible barrier.
Yeah.
Which kills everything like those smaller enemies in one hit. So now that area is just you having to time the jumps properly.
I think one of the reasons why it was always so difficult to me when I was younger was because I never got the arm upgrade until Zero dies in that level. In fact, I didn't even know that it was. I don't think the Nintendo Power tells you that there's an arm upgrade.
I think it does. I'd have to double check because I do recall seeing the capsules on the guide there, but I think back then, honestly, I don't think I even knew that there were more upgrades that were, because the first level you should probably do when you play this game, or the general sort of, I think the general sort of boss order is like you start with Chill Penguin. There's a couple you can start with, Storm Eagle or Chill Penguin.
Yeah.
You start Chill Penguin first because the first thing you get is the dash boots about halfway through his level, which changes the game a lot, but it also tells you that X is much different than Mega Man. This dash, just the way it moves immediately. For one, you can dash and shoot, which you couldn't do in Mega Man at all. Like, it was either slide, and then he wouldn't stop sliding until he hit something, or you go off an edge. But in this one, it's much more mobile, where you collect the first power up, and then like you can dash, and it also gives you momentum, so you can make longer jumps. But the biggest thing is you can shoot and dash, which is basically how I got through the game so fast. Is that you just get that sort of cadence down, it's a lot easier to rush through. So with those upgrades, so there's actually 4 upgrades that we can go through there. The initial one's the foot one that we talked about, where you get the dash. There's another one. It's a body part that reduces damage by 50%, which makes a huge difference. That was one of the parts I got last, stupidly, which it does make a huge difference, because when I was rushing through, like when certain levels, like there's certain things that are hard to hit, right?
Or avoid getting
hit.
Yeah.
And that upgrade helps a lot with cutting down damage. The biggest one is probably the arm upgrade. This one allows you to have an extra charge in your Mega Buster, and also allows you to charge boss weapons, which give them different properties, which is really freaking awesome, because you have 8 weapons before, but now you got 16 of them because they have different ways to use them.
So you were asking earlier about like my thoughts of it back when I first played, and now when I'm playing it older. The arm upgrade is more difficult for me now for being older. I don't know if it's the way my hand has to be, but I sit there and I'm trying to dash and hit that one little corner pixel perfect. And if I don't, then I do it again and again. And eventually honestly, my thumb gets tired.
I think it's the timing, because so to get the arm upgrade, you have to get the head upgrade, which it's kind of a dumb upgrade because it only has a couple uses. It's literally to get the arm upgrade
and like one heart
tank in the same level.
Yeah. The
head upgrade basically allows you to bash through certain blocks, and again, there's only like a couple instances you use it, maybe 3. Maybe 3 at
when
most.
It shows it off.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that jump, because you would just text me right before I got to that point, right before I got the head upgrade to do that. So I was like, oh, is it that bad? And like, it didn't take me that many tries, but it could be me misremembering, but it definitely felt more difficult than it was when I was younger, because I feel like I could probably do that in like a couple shots back then.
Mm-hmm.
This took me a while because I still don't know the exact timing, but I know that it's like you have to be at the you have to dash and jump at like the furthest point, because you really need to be able to kick Mega or X's feet onto those blocks to start hitting up, because that's what sucks is like one of the times I did do it, his head hit the one of the blocks on the bottom right? Yep. And then if that's gone, that's it. You cannot kick or get up that armor ripper again. So I had to exit out Armored Armadillo stage, go back in, go through the hole. I was like, oh god, this is so stupid.
Yeah, I had that happen to me once too. After I was already frustrated about not doing it, and then I did it, but I only hit that one corner, and I was like, nope, turn it off.
It's a lot more difficult than I remember, but it's just like with any of those games. Like you just need to know when to get off of it, when to jump, when to dash. Because I feel like I needed to dash once and then dash again, almost like to get double speed. I don't think they really helped. It just felt like it might have. But once I was able to do it again, like I just kept mashing jump, because again, it's like if you hit the rock or that block and miss it, that's it. Restart. There's no way you're gonna get back up there. And I don't even think. Yeah, it's not like you could. So one of the weapon upgrades you have is that when you charge Chill Penguin's shotgun ice, right? You almost get like that sled, which gives you momentum and speed, and also raises you up. But you don't have the armor upgrade to do that. So this is all you having to dash jump to get the arm part on there. So once you get all 4 parts, this is really the most awesome Easter egg that, again, I probably knew years after the fact back then, but you can actually unlock the Hadouken from Street Fighter 2. So you have to get all 4 parts in there, 4 upgrades, and then you have to go to Armor Ordeal stage, or excuse me, you have to get, it's actually a lot more comprehensive than that, right? Like you have to get the 4 armor parts, you have to get all 8 heart tanks, and then all 4 sub tank upgrades, which basically just like life reserves, right?
Yeah.
And then after you get that, you have to go Armor Ordeal stage, and then not be damaged when you jump at this point at the end of the level. So you're on this sort of minecart thing.
Wait, you had to have full life?
You have to have full life, yes. Which I think when I was a kid was the reason I didn't get the Hadouken a lot, because I didn't know you had to do that.
Wow.
So with this, it's a lot easier than you think too, because I thought the same when I read it. I was like, you don't have to get hit. But what happens is
you're on that cart.
You're on the cart, right? And then also I noticed about the cars, like if you're just if you stand X just a little bit back, because it's it's like a long platform of sorts. If you just have them stand back, the cart will kill anything in its path. But what you also have to have is Armor Ordeal's barrier up, because you have those flying. I don't know if you remember the flying bat things or the birds, robotic birds, right? So they're your only obstacle. But if you have the barrier on, it kills them. So as the cart's killing those miners in front of you, and then the barrier's killing the birds, all you have to do is just time to jump properly to grab the extra health, jump off, and die. You have to do that 3 times. So it's easier to die and then just restart from the checkpoint, because you can just exit out of the level, but you don't. There's no reason to do that. You have to go through the whole level 3 or 4 times to do that. And then on the 4th attempt, when you go up there, Dr. Light's up there with a freaking Ryu headband and his life capsule.
Full gi.
He has the gi, that's right.
Yeah.
And he gives you this whole spiel about how he has like some secret upgrade or whatever it is. And it's the freaking Hadouken from Street Fighter.
Which makes a lot more sense coming out of X's hands than it does Ryu's hands.
That's true, yeah. He does have like a cannon that makes more sense. But it's funny because I don't even know if he puts the cannon out. I think he just does the hand motion.
He does the hand,
right?
the hand look.
So it's like it's not even like he used the Mega Buster. So it's like you're like, why would I go through all the effort for the Hadouken? Well, it's because it kills anything in one hit if you can hit it. So any boss that you come across and you do the Hadouken, that's it, one hitter quitter. Except for the bosses you cannot reach. Right?
I thought there were ways, like I've seen some speed runs, don't they?
Well, I mean for the layman. We'll call it the layman. Okay, not the speed runners. The speed runners probably do. I'd be surprised if they didn't get actually I don't think they can do the Hadouken on the last Sigma. I don't remember.
The very last one?
Yeah, because he has the platforms and everything with the head, right? Like I don't think you could do it on there.
No, I think you can if you ride the hand up and then time it.
Because I tried, and maybe it wasn't at its apex, but it went right under his chin.
Oh. Yeah.
That boss wasn't as difficult as I remember it though, but it was still stupid.
Yeah.
But it's like, for instance, the spider boss probably could do it, right? You probably could hit the Hadouken on it, but it's really hard because that eye opens up for like a split second as it's coming down from the ceiling on there, Yeah, anything else on the parts? What else we got on there? Yeah, so, the music. We didn't get to talk about the music. So that's like one of the biggest things I think.
Oh, the biggest differences?
Yeah, well, beyond that, I think it's one of the best soundtracks on the Super Nintendo, to be honest with you.
I've recently been listening to different soundtracks, while I'm at work. Donkey Kong Country is a huge one for me.
It's classic.
But yeah, I did get into Mega Man X, and it's weird because I hadn't listened to just the soundtrack by itself. And when I started listening to it, I just a flood of memories came back. But I also couldn't pinpoint which level was which. A lot of them I think sounded similar, but also very memorable.
Is there one track that you would say is your favorites made out of them?
Oh yeah, the Zero theme.
Oh, the Zero theme. Wow.
Yeah, when he first comes in and saves you from Vile. That amped me up as a kid.
That is really good. Yeah, there's really good music.
What is going on? Yeah. What is happening? And then he came busting in, and I just wanted him to be on screen more so that the music would be there.
Yeah, I think that's for me. Like I think music is a huge thing, especially in the earlier games, just earlier gaming, I should say, right? But for me, like, the music I listen to, like, this is like right up my freaking alley. Like, I was all into this music when I was a kid. When I was playing through it now, like, there's times I listen to remixes and whatnot. But I love this kind of music. And for me, two of the tracks that I love and can't get tired of was Storm Eagles.
Yeah.
And Spark Mandra. Like, to me, they sound like kind of like thrashy 80s metal to me, which is why I love it. And I looked up the composer, and his name is Setsuo Yamamoto. And this thing, so everyone who's worked on this game, I should have prefaced that with that too, is like they've touched every golden Capcom property in the early NES, SNES days. Yeah, like you have Keiji Inafune, Takeru Fujiwara. They've touched every Capcom thing. Like Fujiwara was the director on Sweet Home, which was sort of the inspiration for Resident Evil, which is crazy. And also Inafune was on there too, and Shinji Mikami, who was like the other father of Resident Evil.
Inafune was on Sweet Home, or on...
I think he was on Sweet Home, or maybe no, he was more heavily on Mega Man.
Yeah,
I think I'm thinking confused with Mikami. But anyway, so Setsuo Yamamoto, he did like another game I recently played was X-Men Mutant Apocalypse.
Huh.
That game sounds a lot like Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Right, and he also composed that. He's done a lot of Street Fighter series, including Champion Edition and like the Alpha series.
Well, that's funny because when we played X-Men, I always thought it sounded a lot like Street Fighter.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's things like Capcom, that crew back thing was so repetitive with their projects and whatnot. Like it did have a signature look and sound, which is why I think those games have persisted for me. And I've always been like a Capcom fanboy since then because they have like a signature sound. And like back then, I feel like that was their signature sound, was like the Mega Man games and like the DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, like all those games they had done back then. That's what Capcom was.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, they've been with Capcom forever, and I think the Mega Man series in general had some of the best music on Nintendo.
Easily,
and then it just continued into Super Nintendo, thankfully.
Oh my god, like Mega Man 2 and 3. I always go back between the two because I know Mega Man 2 is like sort of the most regarded as like the best soundtrack of the series at the time, but I'm trying to separate myself from 3 because I grew up with 3. Yeah, I played it so much more that there's so many good tracks on there, but it's almost like I don't know if I'm looking at it objectively enough. It's like I want to say Mega Man 3, but Mega Man 2 has some really amazing tracks on there.
I always look at it this way, kind of by age, where you listen to Mega Man 2's soundtrack, and it came out in 89, I believe.
I think it was that, yeah.
And to hear what they did with that in just 89,
mm-hmm.
And then they had I think 90 was 3, so they had another year under their belt to build on. So I give it more to 2. I know I'm biased because I grew up with 2.
You have the same problem, but 2.
Yeah. But I give it more to 2 because it was like Nintendo had some rough sounds in the early days.
Yeah.
And so
everything really did though. Yeah.
Mega Man 2 was starting to turn the corner.
I think so. Like, well, and Castlevania had been out by then too. I don't know if Castlevania 3 was out, but definitely 1 and 2 had been out. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like we could have a whole episode just on Nintendo music or Super Nintendo music or Konami music or Capcom music. Like there's just so many legendary games and tracks that we can go through. But yeah, definitely like you could tell like they've evolved, right? Because we're talking about Mega Man 2 and 3. I have less fondness for 4, 5, and 6 because I didn't play them as much. Not to say they're bad or anything. But 2 and 3 had really amazing soundtracks. They're one of my favorite soundtracks on the NES. And then you could definitely see that in X, they took advantage of what they knew how to, at least on the Super Nintendo, because those tracks.
I think, and like you said about the 80s sound or the.
Yeah, it's so frenetic and fast. Like it is.
I
it
think
is me 100%.
They really wanted to lean on that X in the title.
Yeah,
they were like, "This isn't Mega Man 10.
That's true.
This is Mega Man Extreme."
The era of Extreme. Yeah, that's right. It was sort of like everything was tubular and rad back then, or something.
Was it like 94, 95 was when Nintendo started saying "Play it loud"?
They did. Yeah. That's right. I forgot. That makes perfect sense. Play it loud. Yeah, exactly. So the whole marketing of it, I guess it ties in with X. But that makes sense because it is a little bit more exciting title than Super Rockman or Super Mega Man. I think I didn't even think about that, but I guess it would have been less exciting, maybe. I still would have played it, but I think Mega Man X separates it enough from Mega Man than Super Mega Man would.
What would they have called X if they called the game Super Mega Man?
I think they were just going to call him X, is what it was. And they were just
Oh.
going to call it Super Mega Man.
Well, yeah, then throw it in the title.
Yeah, so it makes sense. And because I guess also with the intent of, it would have made sense too, though, because if they, well, no one made sense, because if they would have called it like Super Mega Man Zero, it wouldn't have made sense either.
No.
Yeah.
Because then people would have thought, is this a prequel to even
Exactly,
Mega
yeah.
Man 1?
So that made even less sense. But yeah, anyway, the music in this game is just freaking phenomenal. There's not, I don't think I have a track I dislike necessarily, but I think I'm not a big fan of the Sting Chameleon one. Maybe because his levels usually last for me, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. And his level, really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get the armor upgrade, but you get that last, and it's kind of a slog just to do it.
Yeah, the mini boss is so stupidly long. Like, I used whatever weapons I had. I was using Storm Eagle's Tornado, and I forgot what else, but it took forever.
Yeah.
And, like, he didn't hit me. He was an easy boss to fight.
Yeah.
It just took forever. He was more difficult than any of the bosses.
I think when it comes to the music, though, even their slow tracks, they have the ones that are, for more poignant moments.
Yeah, the more melodic ones.
And it's like, man, even that's fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's like I said, everything they've done in this game is really knocked out of the product. The music is just such a huge piece of it. And yeah, I think that kind of shows, how they're trying to mature the game in a way. I don't mean like literally mature in like theme, but
yeah,
they've matured from Mega Man, where it's like,
could you imagine if body parts started flying off when they started shooting them? We're mature.
It would have been kind of cool though. Actually, that they probably would have done that in later Mega Man games. I'm sure they exploded in some way. Or now, yeah. But yeah, anyway, the music just freaking fantastic. But we kind of were talking about the level themes. But that was the thing too. Is like, what level theme did you not like, or what was your favorite level?
Ooh, favorite.
I think there's a lot of good ones in here. I think that's why I love X over X2 and 3 so much. Is that there's no really bad points in the game.
You know what's interesting, and we'll probably do like a whole episode on X as a series later, but X definitely had the most memorable levels. But then when I was replaying 2 on the collection, there were a lot of levels in there that I forgot that I remembered, if that makes sense.
No, I do that way too. Like it suddenly becomes familiar.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought this was in a different game.
Mm-hmm.
But no, for X1, I mean, it's hard to tell because of replayability. Back then, you had the password system, and sometimes you didn't bother writing the password down. You just wanted to pop the game in and play it. So Chill Penguin and Storm Eagle were always the first 2 that I went to.
Yeah, they were definitely the easiest.
So I played them the most, and they were just cool because Chill Penguin was in the snow, and they actually had the snow physics. Like, you ran slower in the snow. That was an interesting. Right off the bat, you go to this level and you're like, oh, this is different.
And its sprite kind of goes through the snow too, so it sort of shows you that there's depth to it.
And then you hit, in the level, you hit some icy patches, so you realize, oh, there's ice physics too. And then I think Storm Eagles was just fun on a thematic level.
Yeah.
You're on an airfield.
Yeah, and you're going up.
You can see the airport in the background, and you realize, oh, I'm running through this place to catch this airship before it takes off.
And the music, again, to go back to, it's so freaking good as you're scaling. Like, there's just a lot of air. Like, that's the thing going through this level again, is like there's a lot of spots you can die. Like,
oh yeah,
you're in the air. Like, it kind of reminds me of I guess it was Airman stage in Mega Man 2 with those giant platforms that look like, I think they look like monkey heads or something.
Yeah, they were just
something like that.
Weird. Yeah.
Right? But anyway, like this game had that, but now these platforms are much more tiny. Like, and that's the thing, is they're also showcasing everything Super Nintendo can do. There's so much slowdown at some point.
Oh yeah.
Like, it looks like Neo dodging bullets and I was like flying through, you know?
That's why you just had a one super dash jump over everything.
That's really what it was.
Pray for the best at the end.
It was great. But yeah, that level was really cool for that reason, because then you get to Storm Eagle. I guess it's like a ship or a fortress, like an air fortress.
No, it's like, yeah, it's just a ship that he was. I don't know why he needed it though. He has wings.
Yeah, well,
why is he piloting this?
It's probably like his headquarters. You know, he probably commands a bunch of Reploids or something, or excuse me, Mavericks.
Oh, actually, you know what it is? In the prequel
I
stage,
just connected that. Yeah, the prologue.
The prologue. That's the ship that's flying
that's
and dropping enemies on you.
Literally, as you said that, I connected the two.
Yeah.
So in the prologue level, there is a point where these enemies in cars come by. They're just like kind of humming along. They're not going fast.
Yeah.
And you can shoot them and ride them. But yeah, I just realized that that's Storm Eagle's ship or air fortress that drops them off.
That's where Vile comes out of. Too.
Yeah. So it's almost like an air fortress. So maybe Storm Eagle's kind of like the guard of it. I'm not sure what the story is.
Yeah,
there.
he's probably the commander.
But anyway, the cool thing there is like again with advancing the story through the environment. What they're doing is like you get on the pad right for the fortress, and then X like goes into it and like it's an elevator of sorts, and all of a sudden the whole thing just gets destroyed.
So I always, as a kid, I just thought, oh, they have to make this flat now so I can fight the boss. I think, is X like destroying it from the inside?
I think that's the idea. Is like he's going through, but it happens so fast.
Yeah.
Because they don't really convey. I think what they could have done, and again, this is 1994.
Sound
they could have
effects.
done is sound effects, or even just like panning the screen back and forth, so it looks like he's like going
you're trying
through.
to follow him. Yeah.
Yeah, right, and then go up. So basically, like he destroys the entire fortress. Then he goes up, and then Storm Eagle comes by because it sounds like he could be a bodyguard or a guard for this fortress or something, and you fight him on the top there, and it's like such an awesome battle because again, there's no boundaries on the left or right side of the area. Like you get thrown off because Storm Eagle has like a gust attack too. But again, that just shows you like the difference in Mega Man versus Mega Man X.
Yeah, I mean, Mega Man always ended in a small square room with maybe some different elevation.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think there might have been one boss at some point where there was like a pit in it, but I don't remember fully. But yeah, this was definitely new when the whole thing blows off the top and you're like, this is like probably 3 or 4 screens wide.
Yeah, it's a huge area to go through. Yeah.
At some points you could be shooting Storm Eagle and not actually see him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, depending on his attacks, because a lot of they're random and whatnot. But yeah, there's times where like you hear him zooming by and like I got the timing down finally where you can zoom past because you could hear him starting to get the gust to cut you. But yeah, like there's times where you won't see him for a while because he's so above you on top of that. Like the level has verticality too, where you just don't see him. Like he's there, you're just trying to kill him, and the match could take like 5 minutes if you're not careful. If you dodge everything.
Come here, I'm gonna stand still. You come to me.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting what this game did with the levels, meaning they kind of connect in a story where once you beat Storm Eagle, that ship that you just blew up crashes into, what is it, Spark Mandrill's?
It's Spark Mandrill's stage, yes.
And all of a sudden his power is cut and you don't have to worry about electric traps.
Yes. And that's one thing that again, I remember as I was going through, because I also was looking up like how many different variations there are. And I figured there's only a couple, and there really only is a couple. It's one like you mentioned now where if you beat certain bosses before you go to certain levels, something may change in the next level. So like Deucy was saying here, where Spark Mandrill stage, if you beat Storm Eagle first, which you likely will, you're probably going to beat...
He's easier.
Yeah, Chill Penguin or Storm Eagle, because the other bosses probably are possible with just the Mega Buster, but they're not going to be easy at all. But anyway, when you beat his level, like basically his fortress, the idea is like I guess it comes crashing down to Spark Mandrill's power plant, and it cuts the power out. And then something happens where if you beat Chill Penguin first, which again you likely will, and you go to Flame Mammoth stage, and Flame Mammoth stage, if you go there before Chill Penguin, like there's these lava pits, like the floor's lava, there's a lot more obstacles. But if you beat Chill Penguin, like all that's iced over. I'm not sure how the story connects there. Maybe because maybe you Flame Mammoth stage is like under it, and like
and it drops down.
It froze over or something.
I also don't remember the last time I've played Mammoth stage with fire still.
I haven't. It's very rare because you kind of have to actively do it. The only reason you would actually, and it comes into what we'll also talk about here too, where if you have, and again this doesn't make sense either, but if you take Boomer Quanger's weapon first and you beat him first, you can use his boomerang cutter to cut his trunk off, Flame Mammoth's trunk off.
Yeah.
And now he can't spit his fire attack. So that's really the only instance like you might go there when there's fire, is if you have the boomerang cutter.
But you're definitely not going to Boomer stage first before having dash boots and things.
Exactly, yeah. It wouldn't make any sense. And then the last one, which I didn't really notice, but if you beat Launch Octopus's stage first, then in Sting Chameleon's part, there's a heart tank.
It's a little more flooded.
Yeah, it's a little more flooded. So if it's not flooded, that heart tank that's like underground is a lot harder to get because there's no water to carry you to the platform. I think you have to use the shotgun ice slide.
Oh,
the Chill Penguin slide, which makes it way more difficult. I'm pretty sure I've done that before, but probably when I was a kid, because I remember doing that anytime recent, because I've always beat Launch Octopus before Sting Chameleon.
If you beat Launch Octopus and it floods, can't you just jump through the water, like do a dash jump?
It's like the easiest dash jump. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So when I did that a couple days ago, I was like, oh, this is stupidly easy. This last heart tank I was missing that I kind of forgot about. I was like, oh, this is like the easiest one to get. Like you don't have to do any jump tricks or anything like that,
Wasn't that also you drop down there. Isn't that one last time you need the helmet to like break through the wall?
Yes. So
Yeah.
that would be the other instance. So like I said, there's probably like three
Three.
instances at
Yeah.
most, maybe 4. Yeah, so after you beat those, we kind of went through the initial boss. Bow Spider was awful. Oh, and then the rest of the Sigma level. So going back to that boss rush you're talking about earlier on, about how that was harder when you were a kid. Like,
Yeah.
Again, I kind of forgot that boss rush was happening because to me, like in most instances when I remember Mega Man X, I don't remember the boss rush at all. I just think it's like the 4 Sigma levels with those 4 individual bosses.
And then like in Mega Man, you always refight the bosses in a specific stage.
Exactly.
But in this one, they were like, let's change it up. And then after that, they didn't. They were like, no, let's go back to the stage thing.
Yeah, and it was really weird because in the older Mega Man games, like when you would do the boss rush, it usually were like in one room and there's always teleporters on each side. Like there's 8.
Yeah.
And then in this one, again, it was really cool that they did this, but it also made it a little bit more difficult where you beat like the, I forgot what the boss's name is. I forgot what it is, but
What, the face?
yeah, Bomba
Ranga Banga or something?
Ranga Banga, yeah, that was a great name. Which I found out that they tell you all the names of characters, or excuse me, of enemies in the credits, which I didn't realize because I was like,
yeah.
where'd they get these Ranga Banga? And then I saw the end credits, like they name everything in each individual stage.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so with that boss rush, I kind of forgot I was there. And then in between the bosses, there's a little bit of a stage. So it's like you're going, like you said, left, right, vertical. There's like these, laser traps that are there.
Yeah.
And then you have to fight a boss. But luckily, like you have all the weapons now, and you should be powered up to an extent where they shouldn't be that much of a threat. But regardless, it's still 8 bosses.
It's funny too because they don't change. Like all those bosses still have their exact same things. You can still cheese
Exactly.
Sting Chameleon and
Yeah.
nobody's really any harder.
And if you have the Hadouken, then of course it's most of it's pretty trivial at that point if you can pull it off real quick. So yes, there was the Ranga Banga. No, Rangda Bangda.
Oh, there's a D in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a D in there. I'm sorry.
I like my version.
So the hard part with these weapons, or excuse me, with these bosses, like anything else, is that they're really difficult. They're usually pretty large, and then the challenge was figuring out what they were weak to.
I was gonna say, like the main bosses, you can kind of guess.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have like a guide for it, but the end bosses never guessed.
Well, and I think you have a lot more room for trial and error with the other bosses because if you get to a boss and you realize like it's not his weakness, you can still potentially be in with the Buster. Not easy.
Yeah.
But then you can also just get game over and go back to the boss select tree and try another boss. Eventually, you figure it out. With these, you have to go through the same thing. But the problem is, like, if you get game over, you're starting the whole level again.
The whole Sigma.
And the whole Sigma 2, I think. They're split over 2. Sigma 2 and 3. There's like 4 each, I want to say.
If you get game over in like Sigma 3, do you have to start Sigma 1 over again? Like even before Zero dies?
I don't remember because I don't think you do because I there's no way I didn't get a game over in playing through this time.
I would hope not. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say I probably did it once, even by accident.
They didn't pull the Ninja Gaiden on you.
No. So I think you just start at the the beginning of whatever Sigma level you're on. So I think the boss rush is split between 2 levels, but they're still pretty difficult because they're also
I think
the lengthier levels in the game.
No, I think it's all 4. I think it's 2 bosses per level.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't remember. I just went through. I don't know. So it could be 2. I just know it was not the full 8. Maybe it wasn't 4 because that would seem really long too. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is 2 each. But I don't remember finding anything before the bow spider. So anyway, after the Rangda Bangda, there's gonna be all kinds of tongue twisters on this. It's gonna be ridiculous. So that boss is kind of cool because he's a wall. It reminds me of the Contra 3 boss with the skull where he's like ripping through the wall.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Except this is different where he has 2 eyeballs. And then he has a nose that you have to hit, and his weakness is Sting Chameleon, which is like this 3-pronged trident shot thing. That's actually kind of cool, but really useless otherwise.
I was gonna say it's the spread shot, but not as cool.
Exactly, and much slower. So you have to destroy his eyes, and then the hard part, which killed me a lot as a kid, was when the walls close in.
Oh yeah.
And so after you destroy his 2 eyeballs, you don't have to destroy his nose, but the game makes it difficult by closing those 2 walls in, and you have to constantly kick jump.
Don't they start throwing spikes at you too?
Yes, and then there's spikes on the floor. So if you don't, maintain your height when you're kick jumping, or you get hit, that's it. Like the level's over. And then after that was he was the big old like dozer thing. D-Rex is what it is, the bulldozer with jaws.
I have little to no memories of him because I don't think I ever got to him regularly.
Honestly, I think he's one of the most forgettable bosses in the game. Not necessarily for a bad thing. Like he's kind of cool looking because he just looks like a tank with like jaws. But I don't know. There was something unremarkable about him that I couldn't pinpoint. I was just like, all right, like whatever. He's kind of cool, but not exactly a memorable boss. After that, you fight. You're at Sigma's final level, Sigma 4, and you have to go up this giant shaft that is really good for farming health if you have sub tanks and whatnot, or any refill the weapon energy. And then when you get up to the top, you fight. It's another sort of mini boss rush of sorts where you're fighting Sigma and his puppy, which is named Velgarder. I don't know what that means.
I think I've heard it means something, or maybe it was different in Japanese. So.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
So you fight him. I'll be honest. I don't know what his weekness was because I just had a Hadouken.
A
couple days
That's
ago.
All you need. I don't know if he had a weakness. I think it's Buster.
I think it was it Buster. I don't want to say it was fire, or maybe that was another Sigma because you could burn his Reaper cloth off. Was that 2 or 3? I might be getting mixed up.
That's way later. I thought that was like 4 or 5.
Maybe it is. Because again, with Sigma, so you fight the dog, and you fight Sigma in like his, I don't want to say human form, but like his humanoid form. We'll call it that.
His form.
His form, yeah. And then he has a lightsaber, which is kind of cool for some reason. It's kind of like Zero's, saber. I forgot what they call it.
Z saber.
Z saber, yeah. Except it's like it literally looks like a lightsaber. It's a green lightsaber.
I wonder if that's handed to like Maverick Hunter captains.
It might be because it seems like it might be like
because then all of a sudden Zero has a sword.
Yeah, and X got nothing. He has the Mega Buster from some relic ancient Mega Man robot from years past.
This is all we need.
Yeah,
Gun in
you
my
don't
hand.
need a sword yet. You're cool. And then after you beat Humanoid Sigma, I think his weakness was the Buster, which is really stupid because it sucks.
Yeah.
And then after you fight him, you fight another giant wall boss of sorts. It's Sigma in like this giant wolf mech thing that's actually a wall, and then he has like these 2 claw platforms on the side that's kind of slide around and everything.
It reminds me.
Thunder.
It reminds me of the final robot in Mega Man 3. Gamma, I think it was.
Oh yeah, where you use top spin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even think about that. That makes sense, because he was basically a wall boss. Like, he was one of those early Mega Man bosses where they had the completely black screen because they couldn't put anything else on the screen at once besides Mega Man, the floor, and the boss.
Or it would definitely be Neo again in the Matrix.
And then the last boss, it would be kind of fun if like we played this after we did this. Just for shits and gigs, just to go through or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But anyway, that last boss, his weakness is the arm armadillo. What's it called? The barrier thing.
It's just the bubble shot thing.
Rolling shield.
Yeah,
that's like kind of a cool name. Rolling shield. But the thing with the rolling shield is that it kind of shoots like,
and it bounces.
It bounces. So
I don't think you can shoot more than one.
No, you have to wait for it to leave the screen, which basically means it bounces once and disappears. So it can rebound off a wall and then hit something.
I thought it at least bounced like 2 or 3 times.
1.
Oh, okay.
At least that I could see that could work. Unless you have to like,
better.
Unless it like rebounds off walls back and forth. But from what I could tell, like it would hit a wall and then it would hit the floor.
Unless you hit him square on, right?
Yeah, because if you hit him, no, even then you can't even rapid fire. Like it goes out kind of fast, but it's so difficult to shoot him because his only weakness is that tiny head.
And his hands and you have to be on his hands.
Yeah, and his hands are constantly moving while they're shooting sparks from the middle of them. So you can't be staying like in the middle of the platform. You have to be like kind of hanging off the edge. And then on top of that, you can't reach his head just by shooting the rolling shield straight. You gotta jump vertically.
Doesn't the thing sort of arc?
It does. It kind of is. Yeah, it's like throwing a water balloon where it just kind of it has an arc, and it's like if you don't throw it hard enough, it's just gonna plop to the ground and be wasteful. But yeah, so they this boss is definitely made to be difficult for good reason. And of course,
I feel like that's a common theme too in Mega Man series is the last boss is always going to have the most difficult weapon to use. In Mega Man 2, you had to use the bubble lead.
That's right.
Which also came out like a water balloon and just sort of plopped on the ground. Like you said, the third one was top spin, which was you just throw your whole body into him.
I don't think
that's counterintuitive.
I don't think I used top spin ever in that game.
Yeah.
Except for the last boss. And I think that's... And I feel like that was intentionally designed to where like, oh yeah, kids aren't going to use this fucking thing at all.
Yeah.
They'll never think to use that on the last boss.
Yep.
They'll use all the good weapons.
Although I guess do anything.
I think you could be with Metal Man's with the Metal Blade, right? Because I know it's like technically broken, or no?
In Mega Man 2, the only thing that actually counted as a hit where it would flash the screen was the bubble lead.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was tearing my hair out because I didn't know that was the one. I was like
Yeah, we're using everything else.
throwing everything else at
Like,
him.
why would you use stupid weapons?
Yeah.
So with that being said, yeah, you're right. Like I think Mega Man kind of has a history of, you know, their end stages are basically testing everything you've learned.
Yeah.
Playing through the 8 bosses, 8 levels, and Mega Man X. I think the boss, like, granted, like I'm playing this as an adult, and you know, with us seeing speedrunners and whatnot, like you have a better understanding of how to do certain things. Like, obviously not to speedrunners' skill, but you know how to cheat certain things. And I think this boss is reasonable now because you can kind of understand what you're supposed to do and how you can do it.
Yeah.
Because for me, and maybe fun to do an episode on this too, I think the worst last Mega Man boss I've ever played in my life, Mega Man 7.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've played it, but it's literally the worst.
I can't remember if
Most
I got
difficult.
to that one, but I've watched a lot of videos on it.
It's awful. Like I do
It does
remember.
not look pleasant.
This is like a sidebar, but I remember when the Mega Man Legacy Collection came out, and I played through Mega Man 7 for the first time ever because that came out after X, which was funny to me.
Yeah, on Super
Remember?
Nintendo.
Yeah, it was on Super Nintendo.
We were like, why are you bothering at this point?
Yeah,
There's
and
X.
it didn't even. I don't remember. I don't think it looked as good as X did either for me.
Did it come out after like one of the other X's? Like, wasn't it an established series by that point?
That's a good question.
And everybody was like, why are you doing the original?
I want to say no, but hold on, let me see. We got the Google machine right here. Do a little sidebar.
Yeah.
But I played through Mega Man 7 on the collection, and then I got to the last boss, and like it is just stupidly difficult. Like it's worse than any of the SNES ones because it's wily. He moves fast, and he has like these 3 different orbs that can travel at certain angles and also are really homing in on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weapon you have to use is like this spring weapon that also has an awkward arc. Like I think you could charge it up and then it can bounce off walls and whatnot, but it has that same stupid water balloon effect where, it's a short arc, it's a spring, and like if you don't hit Wily in the right way, that's it. You lose your chance. And
yeah,
it was awful. So that'd be kind of a fun thing to go through. So I even know this. So Mega Man X2 came out December '94. I didn't realize it was the same year.
What the?
That's
heck?
insane to me.
Well, technically, I mean, December '93 for Japan. Rockman.
I guess
X.
that makes sense, right? Yeah, one
Yeah.
year after. Oh, I didn't know she was right there. The puppy's been the whole time. Then Mega Man 7. Let's see when that came out. That's crazy. December '94 for the X2. This one came out March '95. So
there were two.
they
X's.
were 2 in the X. Yeah, they were 2 games deep in the Mega Man X, and then they're like, oh, we'll come. I guess we need to get to 10. We'll release 7.
Yeah.
And then 8 did come out.
On PlayStation.
On PlayStation, which I think X4 had come out before.
God,
8.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I remember playing X4 pretty early, and I think it was the same thing where I rented 8. I was like, oh, this isn't as good.
Yeah.
Look at these ugly voices and everything.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of interesting that.
And it's funny because Mega Man like 7 and 8, when they were on the other systems, they still stuck with the original Mega Man type of thing.
They
like,
did.
You can only slide. You can't wall kick.
And I think that's why I didn't like it as much because again I remember renting it and I didn't get far at all in the Mega Man 7. I remember being kind of difficult to get started in back then, and then it just after playing X, it's just really hard to go back to like nicer Mega Man.
Unless you got to mentally prepare yourself and play like on the collection. Play them all back to back.
Yeah.
Don't even think about X.
It's a good thing to revisit now because it is like anything else. It's really cool to see like the progression of Mega Man or progression of certain series. But if someone was to say, obviously Mega Man 7 or X, like the answer is Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Right. It's obvious. So some fun things for Mega Man X as far as ports and remakes. There was this really awesome 2006 remake on PSP that I love the hell out of. Maverick Hunter X. Did you play that when I had a PSP? I don't remember if you ever got to try that.
Like once or twice.
I want to say you had to have. But they remixed the music there. The remix music is fantastic. I thought it was really good. I don't think I like it more than the originals. Again, it's probably just bias from growing up with it because I still think, for me, I think Streets Rage 2 is like, one of the best soundtracks of all time. That soundtrack's like 30 plus years old. But anyway, Maverick Hunter X, it wasn't so received because I think people thought it did too much of the same, which I loved.
And at that time, like, they weren't bringing these out in ports or anything. So
no, the remakes were new back then.
Might as well play it again and now portable.
And it had kind of a 3D look to it, so I think it lost kind of the magic that the sprites had, but they still looked really good, right? Like it still looked like Mega Man X. It was just like a really nice Mega Man X. I think, at the time when they were probably doing this, like it wasn't the coolest thing to do. 2006.
I mean, there wasn't even.
There wasn't a lot of remakes at the time.
Well, no, I'm trying to think of like, was X6 a thing? Like, was that the last thing we saw? Maybe.
Yeah, well, it might have been
X7.
X7. No, it was X7 and X8 had been out because I remember I was working at the Hollywood Video and those were out.
So like,
So
I would have loved the one on PSP because it's a return to form.
it's very much a return. Yeah, it's exactly right. So after like, I'd say X5 is the last one I played a lot. It just kind of went to crap. X7 was awful. X8 I think was less awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the time Maverick Hunter X came out, I was already excited. By then it had been 12 years since the Super Nintendo release, and it was really good. I love the hell of it. I think I still have it. I should put it on the Steam Deck just to revisit it.
Oh, yeah.
You know. And then there was also a fun port that I just played the other day. Actually, you should try it out too. There's this developer. He's like this indie developer. I don't want to call it indie. He's like literally indie. It's like the
Genesis version.
Yeah, his name's Tiago SC. I see him a lot. He ports a lot of like NES and SNES games to Genesis, and NES to SNES. So like he's ported Mega Man 2 to SNES. I don't know what the differences are, and then because I really haven't tried them yet. But he's been working on a Mega Man X port for the Genesis, which it's a sight to behold. There's only 3 levels right now that I found, and it's very much in a rough state because it's clearly not finished. Like it seems like he's building everything from the ground up and pulling the music over. Yeah.
Is he building it so that it can be played on an old Genesis?
I believe so because I had trouble running the emulator file, and apparently you can burn it to a cart. I don't know how that process works, and maybe you could buy it, but like this one isn't even released yet. So it's like the 3 demos are literally like 3 levels. It was like the prologue level, Armadillo, and I forgot the third one. I think it was Chill Penguin. That's what it was. But there's no bosses, so it's like there's a lot of bugs. The music sounds pretty good. Granted, it's like it's obviously Genesis-ified.
Oh.
But I think it's pretty good for what it is. Like it sounds like Mega Man X. It's just
when you say Genesis, like
just like that chunky, gritty, heavy bass. I love that sound.
metal.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on the Genesis game, but
yeah,
it's it's like the Angry Video Game Mission. Like it's got that Genesis sound.
It's funny. Like you were the Sega kid back in the day. You had the Sega, and I was definitely Nintendo all the way. And sure, Sega had a lot of like more action games, more older games, but Super Nintendo just had all the music and the sounds.
Well, that's the thing is there are some real gems on Genesis, right? They have a great soundtrack, but I think they're obviously fewer in number than Super Nintendo by far. But also, I think that's the thing too. Is I learned when I got older is that Genesis had been out for 2 years by the time Super Nintendo came out. So it's like it's easy to knock the Genesis, I think, because there is a lot of games on that sound like garbage, like just awful
like
awful
a garbage disposal.
Yeah, literally like a garbage disposal. But I think in general, like it's given what they've done on that system for as old as it was,
that's
pretty damn impressive.
That thing was around when I first got a Nintendo.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that because we were 6 or 7 when I was like 6 when I got my Super Nintendo 7. Which would have been 92-ish, somewhere around there. Yeah. And I got the Genesis roughly around the same time, and I didn't know. I assumed they were both the new system because everywhere you looked in magazines, right? Like, and again, it could be a whole episode, like the whole Genesis, Sega and Nintendo war.
Console wars.
The console wars, yes. But like I didn't know that it was old.
Yeah.
I thought it was new this whole time. Sonic had come out. That was fresh and new as far as I knew. Yep. So yeah, that was kind of cool. The Genesis port was fun. As far as where you can play it now, it's really damn near everywhere. Like it's they released the Mega Man X collections on PS2 back then, like around I think it was 2006.
Oh yeah.
Capcom was releasing a lot of their games back then. Like they did the Legacy Collection, the X Collection. They did that Mega Man Powered Up, which is the remake of 1, which is weird, where you could have a custom level builder. They did Maverick Hunter X. So they had the Mega Man X Collection on PS2 and GameCube back then. The way you'll probably play it now is on the Mega Man X Legacy Collection Volume 1 because
which is my favorite way to play it.
It's a really great way to play. I think it's they've done a great job with porting it. There's a lot of these the cool filters that are the thing to do now. I don't like the filters in this one. I like that raw sprite look.
I don't mind. I think recently when I've been replaying it for like doing this, I didn't have any filters on it because I wanted to experience. Oh, this is what it looks like, modern and smooth.
Yeah.
But I do also enjoy that in this collection, which I didn't notice at first until recently. You can go in and switch the localization, and you can now do Mega Man X or Rockman X.
Yeah, I like that's been a trend with a lot of these these compilations of sorts.
So I figured, hey, I've played Mega Man X for 30 years. Let me try this Rockman X for once because I don't have a Super Famicom.
Yeah, so what did you notice was different? Because, again, we watch speedrunning a lot.
Yeah.
Especially for the Mega Man games, but they, primarily a lot of the speedrunners run on the Japanese version. But for them, it's because they can scroll through the text quicker and it cuts down on time. But sometimes there are differences in the games.
And so in this one, I didn't notice too much different, especially even with the text. But I know for them, a tenth of a second is very important.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
So right away when I fired it up, I thought it was odd that you get that red flashing screen that's telling you the backstory of Dr. Light putting out the report saying this is X, he's buried because of this. To whoever finds this, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all in English.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
And then at the very end, he signs it off. T for Thomas. T Wright.
Oh, because that would have been his Japanese name.
Yeah, and this was always a thing back in the Mega Man days. Like over there, I guess he was Wright.
Mm-hmm.
And then that made for some goofy instruction booklet translations.
I think it's like the thing right where they don't have like an L sound in the Japanese language or something like that, so it becomes an R.
So that was the only difference on that opening screen, but it was in English. I mean, I could read everything. I was like, what? Mm. And then even when, Rockman X comes in, the options, the game start, password, options, all in English. I'm like, okay.
I've seen that in Japanese games before too, but my thing I never understood, I'm sure we could look this up and solve the answer, but I never really think of it, is like, why some games have like, Japanese language menu and some have it in English. Like, is it just for how they developed it? Is it just, is there a reason for that? Is there not those words in the Japanese language? Like, why are some games English?
And then I was wondering, like, you go into the stage select, and you choose the enemy, the boss of the level, and he always pops up on the screen, and puts his name on there. And it's in English, like English lettering, but it's the translated version. So you've got, like, Chill Penguin is Icy Penguigo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they have their boss names changed. That's right.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, the Japanese symbols say this, so that translated, it's this. It's not directly Chill Penguin. Mm-hmm. Why not just have the Japanese symbols on the thing, on the boss?
That's what I'm saying. Is like it's really weird how you'll play certain games, because like it would have been cool if like the Final Fantasy games that were only in Japan had that option, right? If they're all in English, but they're not.
Yeah.
The game that really would matter to have an English language didn't matter. Like Final Fantasy, we were talking about Final Fantasy V earlier. Like we never played that until like it was ported here years later, maybe a decade later.
Thank goodness they translated it.
Yeah, right? Because you couldn't play it before.
Because even translated, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
But then you go into the first level, and there's nothing too different. You get all the way to the end. Vile kills you, and then the characters are speaking in Japanese, and there's no voice acting, but that text is the Japanese symbols. Which, I mean, kind of makes sense because they're supposedly talking in Japanese. Yeah. But there's no translation there. That's still all Japanese. And that's why speedrunners like it, because less symbols.
Yeah, it just scrolls faster.
I think even the boxes are smaller.
Well, yeah, because they don't have to fill. The whole idea is like they don't fill as much, literally as much space, as much pixel space. So the quicker they can draw the sprites and the letters, like, the boom, quicker boom, boom. They can go through. Yeah.
But those were the only differences I noticed was just, the names. Rockman is still Rockman.
Is it more difficult than the US version? I didn't even think to look that up.
I was trying to look that up too
because I wonder if that's because were you having trouble in this playthrough too? Because where'd you get to?
Storm Eagle.
Oh, so you really got pretty early into the game, then. I see.
And then, like I was telling you, I was playing it late at night, and I was dozing off, and I walked off.
Not a game you want to play half away.
I couldn't tell you the damage because no matter where you are in the world, walking off a ledge is going to kill you.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell because early in the game when you don't have the armor upgrade, you take a lot of damage anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Like the armor upgrade makes a huge difference. I forgot how much damage you took.
I know back in Mega Man 2, like the difference between America and Japan was like one shot would knock off 2 little bars of your life in America and like 3 or 4 in Japan. And I didn't notice in this because hey, I'm so good I didn't get hit. That's
exactly why.
I would just kill myself.
You got so good you stopped the Storm Eagle.
Yeah.
You said, I'm done with the game. That's it.
I know the rest
it's
from
over.
here.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much it. But it'd be interesting to go through the rest of them and see, even though I don't know what they're saying, but I do.
Yeah, I haven't looked up. Like, I'm sure there's a
bet
wiki or
there's-
something that has all the differences. And,
I bet there's more differences in the PlayStation ones, like X4, X5,
Yeah,
X6.
I'm gonna guess that there probably isn't a difference in difficulty because I feel like that was not a whole lot of games did that back then. And there was not. I think I have that in my mind is because like Devil May Cry 3. You remember that on PS2?
Yeah.
They shipped the the US version that got shipped to us, the first release, normal was the Japanese hard mode because of some supposed development mistake.
Oh.
So the normal that me and Bob were playing and like dying at the third Cerberus boss over and over and over was because it was literally the hard mode. So I think historically, and then I think Mega Man 2, where it's like they had a more difficult mode. But I think Mega Man 2 had a pro mode, right? Was it pro or?
It was called difficult. It
Difficult,
was
that's right.
normal and difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas like difficult was basically just the Japanese version.
Yes, that's exactly. So I always think that there's something like that where they thought it was too difficult for us, so maybe they tuned it down.
Which is funny too, because there's another Nintendo game. Well, obviously the Mario 2 story.
No, that's right. Yeah,
But
perhaps the most infamous.
But there was another game where, for once, they thought the American version was too hard for the Japanese when they were porting it over, and I can't remember what game it was now.
Oh God, that does sound familiar.
And I was like, haha, finally, we got one on them.
I know they purposely made certain games more difficult here because of rentals.
Oh yeah.
Right. So another example is Castlevania 3. The U.S. version is much more difficult than the Japanese one. I haven't played the Japanese one, but like the U.S. one is purposely made to kill you. I think you take double damage on level 8, which is basically Dracula's castle. I think you also, like Ninja Gaiden, if you die, you start at the beginning of the level instead of like having checkpoints.
Yep.
So I think it's just thinking that. So I guess arguably, like if anything, it might be that the U.S. Mega Man X might be more difficult. But again, at this time, I think in 1994, I don't think they cared about that. I think they just made everything the same.
That was like the height of Blockbuster. So I think they were still, looking at rentals, because look at Lion King came out in 95-ish, I want to say.
4 or 5, yeah, sometime after the movie.
That was definitely built for rentals. They came right out and said, hey, make level 2 ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that they keep renting it.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm just quickly looking up. It doesn't look like there's any differences in difficulty for Mega Man X at least, which is good. Like, it's kind of dumb to have it that way. Like, I'd be like, if I had played the Castlevania 3 when I was a kid versus the one I got, and I was like, oh, I could actually get through a few levels and not get game over 75 times. I'd be kind of upset about that. I guess that really covers it. Is there any like sort of last words that we have for sort of the legendary Mega Man X here?
No, I think that about does it for this one. And like I said, we could go on and on about the whole series, which we should do at a later date.
Oh yeah, this is just,
there's 8 games in this one.
If we're going the way of Mega Man X, this is sort of something TBD 0, just like him.
Yeah,
we'll rename it to something cool. I don't know, or it could just, this episode could go up and it just we'll just put a disclaimer. We don't know what the name is.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you. I think this game for me is, I had so much. I even texted you when I was playing. I was like, I fucking love this game.
Yeah.
Like, I was playing it like with a smile on my face the whole time. I was pretty proud of myself that I got it done in like under 2 hours, even with this and watching Dayline at the same time.
Submit it.
Yeah, that's a new speedrun category.
Starting your speed run.
Dateline and Mega Man X, 100% run. But I think for me, this is definitely, I want to say top 5 Super Nintendo game for me.
I would, for me, I'd probably put it top 10 at least.
I'd say that's fair, because I think most people probably would put it top 10. But for me, I think between the memories I have of it, growing up with it, us playing it, like playing with my brother, playing with my buddy Alex, 29 years later, like I could still pick this game up anytime. And
if I could beat it as easily as you have, it'd probably bump it up a little more.
You're like, all right, they went from top 10.
Yeah.
It was at 6. It's like a 5.01.
Yeah.
Barely a top 5. I would love to play through it again though. Like again, we always talk about it. I think there's a lot of cool stuff we could do, and it's just really just me, not procrastinating and whatnot and getting it done.
We should have a race.
That's exactly what I was alluding to. It's like we should do some sort of race.
Yeah.
But
But then at some point you will win because I will keep dying.
Well, we'll be like, maybe, I don't know, we'll have to find some, not handicap, but
Yeah, you just stop playing at a certain point. We're only going to get to this hallway.
you're like, all right, no upgrades.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get the armor upgrade. You're going
First
through
one-
raw.
First one to Zero's death. That's it.
That's right. I think if I got to Joe's death, which I think is in the first Sigma level, I might be able to get through. I don't know. The thing is, I'm sure you did it as kids. That's the thing. Like, I don't think I knew about the upgrades. And we didn't touch on this either, but I'll briefly mention, but the replayability of this game is pretty awesome considering what you couldn't do. You know, and I think that's also why I put it so high is because, you know, we talked about the 4 parts you can upgrade. You could talk the heart tanks, the sub tanks, and then, you know, all the little sort of level changes depending on what you do beforehand. I think is a pretty big deal to have in 1994 on the Super Nintendo game.
Well, what's funny too is I didn't mention it before, but back then I didn't even know about all of like how many heart tanks
Me
there were.
neither.
Or I think I knew there were 4 sub tanks, but I didn't know there was a heart tank per level.
Yeah.
And I just figured, well, I probably got about 3 or 4 of them, and that's enough.
And I think that's the thing is because, you know, and again, we're kind of retreading in a sense, but the levels are made in such a way that, you know, they're trying to encourage you to explore them, which is really great because you didn't do that in the original Mega Man games at all. Like, they were really straightforward. Like, they were either vertical shafts or, you know, horizontal chasms with obstacles left to right.
Classic.
And then that was it. And now it's like, well, if you're having a hard time, realistically, you could go back, go search for these upgrades if you can find them, you know, have much more max health. The armor upgrade alone is probably the one you should get. And that's probably the easiest one because I think you get that from Sting Chameleon, which, you know, his area isn't that hidden to get that. Like, it's just you're going up and around and you fight the stupid long boss.
Yeah.
But that thing is really, you know, if you're having a hard time, that's paramount in getting you through the rest of the game. So, yeah, for me, top 10 game. I'd love to play this through again. I'm always jonesing for it. And I think that's it for this sort of episode. But Deucy, I have to thank you. I appreciate you coming up. Appreciate you recording.
Thank you for getting all this started and getting this sound equipment.
Thank
and everything.
you. It's a rough run. I think, you know, like everything else, the first step's always the most difficult, and it's tough because you and I have been talking about this for like, I swear to God, like years.
Yeah, before
Years.
pre-pandemic.
And yeah, it's rough, but you know, once you're there for a step, like, it's really fun. Like, I did have a ton of fun going through my research. I like to say it like that sometimes. And then of course we got to record now. It's been a pretty awesome day.
Got an excuse to play the game again.
Yeah, I really did. Not that I needed one, but now I'm looking at it through a reviewer's eye or something. You know?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I
Bring
appreciate
the information to the people.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to hopefully doing some more. Maybe this will be a good enough cut where we just, you know, release it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Any last words to the people? Anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to profess to Mega Man X?
I just hope that more than Mega Man X, I hope this podcast can get some legs, and please, everyone out there, press start to continue.
Yeah, press start to continue. Subscribe, like, I don't know if we'll be able to subscribe and like this yet.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, we're looking forward to doing a whole lot of cool stuff. We have a lot of exciting ideas that will hopefully be coming down the pipeline, given some, you know, efforts.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening to quite some time. We actually nailed like 90 minutes just free flowing here. It's pretty awesome.
Hey.
Wow, look at that.
All right.
Being productive and everything. So thank you everyone for listening. Appreciate you all. I love everyone. I love Mega Man. Thank you and good night.
Goodbye.
Continue.